Thank you. Parliament is received. Honourable members, we have at the Speaker's gallery the United Arab Emirates ambassador and his delegation. Please welcome them. Thank you. While we left off this morning, we continue with the debate. Let me give the floor to the Honourable MP for East Arare, who was standing up when I stopped the meeting, suspend the meeting. Honourable MP for East Arare.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and thank you for recognizing the member of East Arare to make some contributions to our debate on this bill. At the outset, I'd just like to thank the Minister, our hardworking Minister, for bringing this bill to Parliament, his predecessor, now leader of the independent group, for their hard work over the years in terms of preparing the bill. Of course, the Bills and Legislation Committee for their deliberation over this important bill, now that it's before the House. I just want to say from the outset that it's really encouraging to hear about a bill that's been deliberated on and with recommendations for amendments and actually having those amendments implemented where they are accepted. I think this is a really positive sign in terms of lawmaking going forward. So this is a welcome approach towards legislation making, Mr. Speaker, sir, because I think oftentimes in the past there are a lot of recommendations, but hardly any of those get perhaps accepted by the executive. So I think this goes to show that I think the work of the BLC has some value in allowing the executive and the ministries to be aware of perhaps changes that needed to be made and have taken those on board. I think I just wanted to make that general comment and congratulate all those involved, the BLC as well as the ministry and the minister for taking that initiative and accepting it. Those amendments were appropriate according to him. So that is very much welcome, Mr. Speaker. So as I always want to say, bills are definitely the government of the days, but once it becomes Act of Parliament, it becomes a whole Parliament's law. So very much welcome this kind of approach moving forward. Just wanted to make a few comments on the policy side in support of the bill. The bill is a very important piece of legislation, and perhaps one that we have heard already has been long in the making, and one that perhaps should have been made earlier. But I think good things perhaps take time to be ready. Perhaps we can see that particular bill or this particular bill in that light, Mr. Speaker, sir. In terms of the safety and public health umbrella under which this bill looks to also make a contribution in strengthening, indeed, the safety aspect of our buildings is something that is a given, that we really need standards there to ensure that our buildings meet the required safety standards that perhaps are already in place, but the enforcement part of it and the compliance part of it perhaps needed a bit of a beefing up. So I think I see this bill as one of those that will add to that particular area in terms of beefing up our standards in our buildings, including the health, public health aspects. Also with regards to disaster resilience, we know, Mr. Speaker, sir, Solomon Islands is a disaster-prone country, always ranking high in the ranks of the United Nations for countries that are prone to disaster. We're in the Ring of Fire area in the Asia-Pacific region, as well as some cyclone areas as well here. Climate change, climate variability, those are also impacting our place in Solomon Islands as well. So I think this bill would also, as I read it, look into addressing some of those issues, Mr. Speaker, sir. We keep on talking about the need perhaps of looking at climate proofing even if that's the term that we can use, knowing full well the models that are being put in place now by scientists around the world in terms of how the impact of climate change will be impacting us as a nation. So I think this is a really, really great time for this bill to come in place, so that even when it comes to things like climate proofing of our infrastructure, including buildings, we are already in the right path, Mr. Speaker, sir. Of course, stronger buildings mean that we don't have to rebuild perhaps too much later down the line if disaster does strike, because the integrity of the buildings should hold up as best as possible when we are indeed challenged and faced by these natural disasters that do befall us. Mr. Speaker, sir, we don't have to look far. Just our neighbour next door, Vanuatu, went through a time where, according to some reports, many of the buildings that had structural issues were relatively new, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I'm sure we're learning lessons from our neighbours as well in terms of that particular incident in Vanuatu, and how definitely we need to also look at our building. I'm reading and hearing as well in Vanuatu that even the presidential palace of the president of Vanuatu has been impacted by the earthquake, so much so that perhaps it's not safe even for the president of Vanuatu at this time as well. So these are issues that we know full well in the region that is going to impact us. That is why the standards is so important for us to meet high standards of building in terms of our own infrastructure in that space. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the economic benefits of this particular bill, I think it's really important. As we've already heard in the morning, the economic benefits of this particular bill includes perhaps the wider players and stakeholders in this space, including those in the retail sector that will be also benefiting from this bill as well, in terms of selling higher quality products as well, and ensuring that standards are even met perhaps there as well. So I think there is also a benefit that involves even the retailers, those that sell the actual building materials themselves. Ideas of perhaps looking at certification of those that are selling these materials, and the expectation that they would meet certain standards. You know, those sort of things, if not already in the bill, could be worked on, I'm sure, through regulations and such. But it's something that's welcomed in terms of the whole building industry or constructive industry being impacted, I would say, positively by the introduction of this bill and the passage of this bill by this House. Mr. Speaker, sir. Insurance as well, I think, is another part of the economic benefits of this, in terms of the insurance industry in this country. You know, when buildings are well built, I'm sure it'll impact on the insurance the liabilities of these buildings as well as we move forward. It gives a better reading of the insurance industry in the country, so that there's a uniformity as they look into this particular issue of insurance for our buildings moving forward. So that's another economic impact that I see coming out of the standard buildings and the codes, building codes that we will be implementing under this Act moving forward. Mr. Speaker, sir. Indeed, it impacts the banking sector as well. I would like to think so, in terms of borrowing and mortgages, those sorts of issues. I think this bill would also have an impact in the wider economic industry of this country as well, including the banking sector. So that is something that I would like to highlight here as welcoming, that we are passing this bill that is not just going to be something that impacts upon the building or the infrastructure industry, but it can go wider and impacting even the banking sector when it comes to borrowing, mortgages, and the like, Mr. Speaker, sir. Of course, economic impact on builders themselves and owners of these buildings is, a good standard building should result in perhaps less maintenance in terms of your maintenance schedules for these buildings. One would think that it would also have an impact there. So from the start, building owners would like to have standard buildings and buildings that meet the code quality that would also impact on their own pockets when they have to look at perhaps maintenance costs. So quality of the buildings and the standards could have an impact as well in terms of maintenance and repair costs that are always going to be part of a building. And of course, the value of the building is perhaps going to be held longer. If you have a stronger built building, we know that real estate, the value is one that usually appreciates. So I think when you have buildings that are built up to standard, I think that would also contribute to its own value in terms of over the medium and longer term, Mr. Speaker, sir. And then lastly, I would just like to also highlight the impact of buildings could have on our obligations in terms of international standards when it comes to disability, the conventions on disability and access to buildings, especially public buildings. Those will be impacted positively, I think, including for those in our society who perhaps are disabled and need assistance to move around our town, our city, and these building codes would indeed look at their interests as well. So I think we would be hitting a few birds with this one stone, if I was to term it like that, Mr. Speaker, sir. And this bill, long time in the making, has finally come to Parliament, and we welcome it very much here. We know and understand the scope of the bill as it stands in terms of its application on registered land, that sort of thing. But I'm sure the learnings from that can even be moved and be permeating the rest of the country, even buildings that will be built perhaps on customary land, perhaps on land that is not registered. I think the impact of this standards and the building code would have a positive net impact across the whole building industry of Solomon Islands moving forward. So all these positive outcomes of this bill I see as a very good sign for us to move forward and be taken seriously when it comes to our infrastructure in country. Mr. Speaker, sir. With those few words, Mr. Speaker, sir, I strongly support the bill and I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Member. One at a time, so we'll give it first to the Honourable Minister for Health and Medical Services.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank my colleague Minister for Provincial Government for allowing me to take this a little bit of time just to contribute on this bill. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for allowing me to contribute to this bill. This bill is a very important one, and I want to sincerely acknowledge the Minister for MID, the very young one, as we have said earlier this morning. Mr. Speaker, this National Building Bill 2025 is just more than a legislation. It is a shared commitment to safe homes, better building, and a stronger communities across Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, this bill is a national framework for building design, especially for my ministry, the Ministry of Health and Medical Services, to which the building codes and standards for healthcare is very important. Healthcare facilities across Solomon Islands, Mr. Speaker, are not standardized, but through this bill, it will be of great benefits to the Ministry of Health. Mr. Speaker, I raise to just say that Part 2, Section 7 of the bill highlights the important parameters to enforce a national building code and codes that address the structural safety. Ministry of Health and me Barawa consent to must lower the building safety as part of our health goal. This Part 2 or Section 7 is very important, and I really applaud the Ministry of Infrastructure for that part of the bill. It creates an official process as well for permits, plan reviews, inspections, and occupation certification. There are some buildings in the past that are not certified, and people are moving in to occupy those buildings, and which this bill really addresses the issue that we have. It is also welcoming, Mr. Speaker, to note within the bill it's defining the roles and responsibility of the government agencies, especially highlighting the licensed professionals and building practitioners. In medicine, Mr. Speaker, we need to have license to give treatment, and so in this bill it is very welcoming to note that we have builders practitioners, and so I am sure that this bill will also give license to those builders. Mr. Speaker, as I read through the bill, it gives some of the very importance to the health infrastructure across Solomon Islands. One, it will bring safety and resilience. It will also contribute to disaster risk reductions. And also, Mr. Speaker, one of the things that I noted within the bill is that it will help avoid fragmented rule across Solomon Islands. So there are builders that just have emotions, or even like in building, but with this building standard, Minister, I really salute you that it will give some kind of standards. One of the things within the Ministry of Health is, in terms of infrastructure, is renovation. With having this bill before us, Mr. Speaker, it will have a good economic stability. We're having good building materials. We will have longevity of the buildings, especially for the health facilities across Solomon Islands. Not only that, but our patients will also have some kind of confidence if this bill is also giving some standards to the healthcare across Solomon Islands. One of which, Mr. Speaker, I want to raise within this bill is that we should also consider some of the hazardous materials like lead, asbestos in the building materials, to which I'm sure that the minister, the good minister, and the powerful minister will put in the regulation of this bill. There are issues that are rising, especially in our cancer or carcinogens, cancer agent substance, which can also be in the building materials. So with this bill, Mr. Speaker, I really support it as a Minister of Health to standardize the buildings, the health infrastructures that we have across Solomon Islands. There are many benefits that we could explore, though this bill is sought and saluted by other colleagues, but it is a beginning of a good thing since independence. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill and I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable MP for East Honiara. Deputy Speaker, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity for me to talk a little bit more. Okay, thank you, Minister, for a very good presentation of your bill that by me debating now. Okay, today I'll try to speak on the materials, and I might be detail a bit on some of the material to be the sample of materials that we are expecting. So this bill must not only regulatory design and construction practices, but must also standardize materials. use. Because why? Strength and longevity of other materials, believe me, or other buildings, believe me, it depend entirely on the quality of its components. Me like for discuss a little bit law. Few materials. First, me like talk about cement. You be importing cement inside the country, believe me, law two ways. One, him coming as a bulk shipment. Bulk shipment, him mean time you take him come in a lot of cement and you come on the plastic and him come inside bags or plastic inside the ship and him come the wharfs plainly. And then you unload him in the form of bags. So, this kind of shipment, firstly, him exposed corner law, open sea environment. Him not properly contained. And the process may lead to moisture absorption, saltwater contamination, and him compromising chemical properties block at the cement here. Him reduce him, in other words, him reduce him now, strength block concrete. So when you take the bulk, that's what him meaning. Another way where you'll take him cement, in the country, you'll take him through containers. Where you take him, pack him, and go inside the container, and we shift containers. Inside the ship, inside the container, come the wharf, unloaded through containers. That's another method you may do. This one, firstly, is protected from humidity. I'm protected from salt water contamination, even from airborne salt. And in other words, have it dry before him come into the country. This one I'm giving him now chemical stability, bloody cement. And this one now the most recommended for any infrastructure projects inside the country, believe me. Especially in countries where people are prone to tropical cyclone or earthquake and other kind. So in other words, low country believe that today a lot of cement and flow in India and come inside. But whether it's okay for the environment or no more, and basically now, but the two ways where presentation of cement or importation of cement happen not through those two falaya. These building codes must clearly differentiate and set a minimum quality benchmark for import of cement. Bulk shipment exposed to sea conditions should undergo strict quality testing upon arrival before being approved for use. So one fellow now, cement. Another material me like to talk a little bit about rebars. Or you may call them steel rods. Or reinforcement bars. There is a common but dangerous misunderstanding in the public and even among some builders that all rebars are the same. That is not true. We must educate and regulate the correct application of different grades of steel. Okay, in the area of rebar, we carry two fala come in the country. One fellow to call them high tensile rebars, and the other one is low tension rebars. Okay, for high tension rebars, leaders, they come the steel rods, but where to apply them can be different. For high tension rebars, usually apply for first and second floor of construction. And low tension rebars, by apply low high level buildings here. And hem current reason for those applications. High tension rebars, hem rigid, hem strong, so for swing, hem hard a little bit. But when we talk about low tension rebars, what I meant for hem side swing, hem flexible. Lo country blue tala. People no creating that one, yeah. As long as hem steel rod, or the take him or the build hem. Or the take him or the build hem now. As long as hem steel rod no more, people blame them no count him anything. Or no worry lo price. Sir, this building code must clearly state where and when each type of rebar can be used, and enforce important guidelines to prevent, substantiate or misapplied materials from being used in our homes and in the public infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, sir, we must strongly discourage and reject the use of low standard and regulated construction materials in our nation. We are not the dumping ground for rejected or surplus materials from overseas markets. Our people deserve better. Too many buildings have suffered cracks, corrosions, or collapse due to the use of inferior cement, non-certified steel, or cheap roofing materials. Then to talk about materials that supply rural develop, home from constituency for constituency Blintala, you're gonna find out that most copper in the send them rust finish now. Because in the no current standard for talent, how many lead inside of this copper before in the buying? Otherwise, you should say, oh, 30% lead between the taken in the country. Hem now by preserving copper blue in the laya, so they have no rust karage no more. Economic cost is significant, but the human cost is unacceptable. Mr. Speaker, while we acknowledge the established building codes of Australia and New Zealand, we must also recognize that our geographic, climatic, and economic conditions are different. We cannot blindly adopt external standards. It is time that Solomon Island develop its own national material standards based on our unique environmental conditions, such as high humidity, salty air, seismic risks, and cyclone exposure. This bill must mandate the establishment of a Solomon Islands Standards Authority responsible for certifying of materials before importation, testing of materials before shipment, or even testing shipments at the port of entry, auditing large-scale construction projects for compliance. These are areas in the needing for some of these things. Let us set our own standards and enforce them with pride, purpose, and integrity. Sir, this building code is not just about concrete, not just about steel or roofs, but it is about protecting lives, preserving investments, and building a resilient nation. If we fail to regulate the materials used in constructions, we fail to protect our people. Let this bill be the beginning of a new chapter, one where quality, safety, and accountability are non-negotiable principles in how we build our homes, our schools, our hospitals, and our infrastructures. Let us not allow substandard materials to define the future of our nation. Let us build wisely and build well. With a few remarks as about the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Development, Planning and Aid Coordination, and I'll come back to provincial government.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and also I want to thank my colleague Minister of Provincial Government for allowing me to take the floor. Mr. Speaker, me happy especially for contribute to this debate on the National Building Standard Bill 2025. On that note, me joining others that speak before me to thank the powerful Minister of Infrastructure Development, very energetic and young, and his experience in the building industry, and so Barava, thank you, Minister, for bringing this bill to the House, because when the Minister moved this bill, it was quite developed, I think 3 decades ago. So congratulations, my colleague Minister for Infrastructure Development. On that note, me also like to thank him, the AG Chambers and those that are part together for preparing this bill to the House. Also for joining Minister and thanking the Australian government through our Australian High Commission in Honiara for technical support and financing this bill. Mr. Speaker, this bill also complement the Road Act, only the existing framework which is providing legal base for the ministry in terms of the role of oversight of infrastructure development in the country. Mr. Speaker, me thank him. Minister has alluded in his when tabling this bill that importance of this bill. But among other intended outcomes, the bill also intends to establish a legal framework for development, enforcement, and review of a national building code and associated technical manual. Also, the bill, Mr. Speaker, may also improve infrastructure decision-making process through development and also implementation of better regulation and enforcement mechanism, which may also help to reduce exposure to unsafe or non-compliant infrastructure assets that others already touched earlier when it comes to quality. The bill also, Mr. Speaker, promotes long-term and sustainable and climate-resilient infrastructure development, which is aligned with our national policy and also international best practices. So, on the recommendation that put by the BLC, but before that, Mr. Speaker, me also thank him, Bills and Legislative Committee for a number of recommendations that are recommended to the government, especially to the Minister and Ministry responsible, and important some of the recommendations as you must look at it in terms of how we will need when implementation of this bill, Mr. Speaker, and something that the Minister already highlighted earlier, that some of these recommendations be already incorporated in the bill, Mr. Speaker. So, as you know, from the DNAT 4 pillars, one of the pillars below DNAT government, especially infrastructure development, and this bill very important, so that apart from the 4 infrastructure development is key, and like others already alluded, Mr. Speaker. And so the absence of modern and robust legal and institutional framework to safeguard and guarantee the quality standard, safety and credibility and durability of infrastructure assets, this bill is important as Bayumi is addressing those challenges that you may facing in our development aspiration, Mr. Speaker. As you may look in, especially Lord Eben Aris Bloyumi, that due to lack of legislation that have guiding infrastructure development, you may have witnessing even law, road or buildings that time in certain standard for guiding infrastructure development, you may have experiencing this kind of practices. Even lot the river banks, especially you may have a look in law, Matanko River too. And so that's important for this bill, that by helping work blood agencies, especially like Ministry of Infrastructure, Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, and also HCC and other provincial agencies, Mr. Speaker, that by him is sort of help in terms of addressing our need. Mr. Speaker, the bill and also align well with our national development strategy, as one of the work that the Ministry of National Planning and Development Coordination and work. Now we are reviewing our national development strategy, and from finding we are off track. And so as part of that, we are also reviewing our national infrastructure priority pipeline. And so once this bill passed in Parliament, it's sort of like aligned well with work that the Ministry also looking. Not only that, but standards is important, as we are also preparing for our graduation law 2027. And so this bill is also like really important for us, Mr. Speaker. So we also like for touching, like others already highlighting finish, especially quality and standard, that we hope that as we covered law bill, not only that, but also in terms of infrastructure development and construction industry, that's also important for help him or contractors or making sure that once they sign contract for delivery of the infrastructure, they are also meeting, and that cover under whatever materials that like others highlighting, that means and bar important for this bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as you may remember, law United Nations addressing need of people with disability, or sometimes you may call them people with special need. This bill is also important because by accommodating needs lot public infrastructure, and even some residents that have important jobs. So I think the bill has sort of helped to work for me addressing need of people with special need for easier in terms of how you may help them or people, especially those with special need. And so you may like for looking public infrastructure and even commercial buildings for me accommodating that need. Mr. Speaker, probably one of the challenge by me facing in implementing the bill time taken for me adopt and do this law, but important for me must continue for implementing law, how by helping me especially law even development, so that safety important like others already mentioning, Mr. Speaker. Of course, in terms of monitoring, like one or two already highlighting, and by making work easy too in terms of monitoring, because by everyone no more help for meetings set what required under this bill, and of course regulation, Mr. Speaker. And so something that really important as going forward as a nation. You may need for no continue for allow no more development, which is sometimes not meeting standard. And of course, as a country that can be prone to disaster, climate change and sea level rise, that's important, especially for building infrastructure that withstanding now impact of climate change, especially sea level rise, cyclone, and flooding. And so that's also important for Minister of Health earlier highlighting safety important, because that first, because like safety of our people, especially low urban centers, and not the provincial centers too. But as continue, like for rolling out law country for so that got a building standard that like. Of course, area that's highlighting in terms of quality of imported materials, semi-important, something that by this bill and also helping me for addressing. And of course, the challenge we facing sometimes to our purchasing power, especially how like for look at what now quality, but it good for start for doing what of good quality, so that no awesome now some building materials that you may have come in here. Sometimes you take them today, you go putungo, but have a problem now. So I think important for you look at some good quality products that you may importing. So although expensive, but kind material sometimes you may have column mahal name, sometimes at sa column lo sama materials na kind material column election material. So that one important too. Must look at some quality one for giving lot people, so that what you may give him people last long. No good na time and finish, but copper or something rust too, and something good for important water quality product for giving lot people employment. I think, Mr. Speaker, the Senate government with the priority policy, and especially the legislation that we like for bringing come law parliament, this bill really important for me pass him, so that helping me, especially law infrastructure development across law country, me like him for making sure that our standard law there for helping this fella sector development, Mr. Speaker. With that, Mr. Speaker, me bar of supporting this bill, and thank him to others that you may work for passing this bill, and then if a need for some amendment later, then by me shall continue, because I think like the Minister had me raising when tabling this bill, by this bill, by regulation imi sara addressing some fala areas that imi haletim, and of course a need for amendment then by myself also amending. With that, Mr. Speaker, me supporting this solar bill and me receive seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll give the floor to the Honourable MP, Minister for Provincial Government Institutional Training. You've been standing up almost 3 times. I'll give you the floor first, then I will decide. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Salai. Proceed. Thank you for recognizing me. Sir, let me begin by thanking the Bills and Legislation Committee, its chair and the hard-working committee, the minister responsible for this bill and his staff, the lawyers at the AG Chambers, the drafting department, and of course the predecessor of the current minister as well. And you may everyone here say achievement you may because of their hard work, effort and energy over put on this whole bill. So the National Building Standard Bill 2025 is an important bill. It comes to Parliament at a critical time. This bill holds a considerable importance for our nation as far as the construction of building is concerned. For many years, the Solomon Islands has lacked a modern building code or law that reflects current standards and practices. For many years, put another way, for a long time, Solomon Islands did not have contemporary building laws that take into account relevant considerations to ensure proper building structures and norms are adhered to. So this has hindered our ability to ensure that building structures are constructed safely and sustainably, measured against the backdrop of our cyclone-prone environment and related socio-environmental factors. Hence, a comprehensive and contemporary national building standard law is essential. Mr. Speaker, adopting such a bill will help us uphold proper building norms and protect the welfare of our communities and the people of this country. Mr. Speaker, for the provinces, the general observation is that building standards are now centralized. The new Building Standard Bill will amend the Provincial Government Act 1997. Specifically, it will repeal provincial building codes and ordinances. This amendment does not substantially impact the fees collected by the provincial governments because of the imposition of building permits. I know this will also certainly applies to the Honiara City Council too, Mr. Speaker. So, sir, the provincial governments will still charge and collect the relevant fees in terms of their imposition of building permits. As stated earlier on, this move aims to establish a comprehensive and standardized building code that addresses critical factors affecting construction and infrastructure. Put another way, it will incorporate relevant considerations such as environmental factors, safety regulations, and structural integrity. The emphasis on a unified code is driven by the urgent need to consider essential elements such as climate change, the increasing frequency of natural disasters, and the risk of earthquakes, among other concerns. By creating a cohesive framework, the new building code seeks to enhance the safety and resilience of structures, thereby protecting the well-being of our citizens. These reforms, sir, through this new building code are essential not only for maintaining structural integrity, but also for ensuring that communities are better prepared to withstand and recover from environmental challenges. The overarching goal is to foster a safer and more sustainable built environment for all. With these few words, I support the bill.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable MP for Small Malaita.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me at the outset thank Mr. Nab for supporting this bill. Sir, the Minister himself in his moving the motion, the second reading, and me telling this bill has been overdue, long overdue. And me, Hiram made also acknowledging the contribution made by his predecessors, but Mr. Napo commended him this time. So we want to say thank you to him taking come this for a very important piece of legislation for a very, very critical part of nation building belonging in our country. So me support him because now the bill has provided and articulates standards, and the bill itself hemi got some over the main guidelines there, but the code, which is far more detailed, hemi prescribing what something also more standards here. So it's very good. Even you may needing qualifications long contractors and all the people who are building roads and all some also. The bill also provides for a governance structure and the administrative function or administration of the bill, making sure that he may work effectively. So we have bodies like the NBC advisory boards and other people, also chief building inspector and other authorized officers. So this is all a prescription of what we have been lacking for many years. I think it also prescribes some of the penalties for offenses, which is something you may better look forward for him. I know some of the penalties are quite stiff, which is good. That's a reflection of the seriousness of the matter at hand. So the law must prescribe him stiff penalties on him. So the intent of this law is so that it works for us, it works for Somalians, it works for the country. And for that to happen, sir, will depend entirely on the effective enforcement and compliance under the law. So people where you may put them in positions like the chief building inspector under clause 4, appointments to the advisory board and appointments to the building boards and other authorized persons. These are the people that will ensure the intentions and the policy goals under this legislation are met. Because, sir, suppose enforcement is not effective and compliance weak, then this piece of legislation by Hemi of very little use for you. Me happy that the law or the legislation also, or the provisions also have prescriptions along the kind of technical ability for people where whether by staff law or the positions here. These people must be technically fit and proper, sir. So me happy that me looking over the prescriptions here. These men and women must be technically fit and proper. But not only that, all the women, men and women that are fit and proper in terms of their own personal integrity and reputation. These should be men and women who, by no anyone can show them anything like it and not go him. These should be men and women that will not be swayed by any interests and any motivations other than those that are intended under this bill and the national interest. So I'm saying this, sir, and me go ahead for ending talk blomine, because this is where every good intentions on this floor in terms of formulation of and passing of the laws here. This is where laws have failed to provide or to produce or result in the intended policy intentions, you mean. This is where many other legislations before this have failed their policy goals because the administration of the law itself have been compromising. This is where me urging ministry, the government, and the minister to be very meticulous inside of this issue of making appointments. Sir, the bill, as other speakers have pointed out, seeks to ensure that all the buildings and infrastructure and other structures that are built in this country meet some minimum standards as prescribed under the code. Of course, this is for our interest, for safety and security for not only our people, but everyone where to start using all the buildings and infrastructure. So, sir, the intent of the bill is very good. I fully support it. Me want to say no more. Me want to urge ministers, including the current minister and the government, when it comes to making appointments, take this into consideration, sir. With this word of caution, I support the motion and I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Member for Small Malaita. Any other members who wish to speak in the bill, the debate? Thank you, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for Civil Aviation and Meteorology. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also briefly contribute to this bill, the motion. My contribution will be brief, as I don't want to repeat myself to what others have said. But Mr. Speaker, some of us have carried this rule book for more than 30 years. Despite of the fact that the Solomon Islands don't have a national building code, I know we practice the Australia-New Zealand standard building code, and some of us do carry the book. In a basic way. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Minister for tabling this bill in Parliament so that we can debate and give our interventions. And I thank the Bills and Legislative Committee for also scrutinizing the bill itself. Mr. Speaker, my intervention will be brief, as I've stated, and I'll contribute on 2 points that I see is important here. Mr. Speaker, the building code, as in the profession we call the code or the rule book, I was happy to see in clause 5 states that this rule will be applicable to all Solomon Islands land and waters. So I must appeal to all the engineers, the architects, the project managers, the construction companies to abide to the rules and regulations that we are just about to pass here in Parliament. Because it will not only necessarily, Mr. Speaker, will be applied in urban areas like Honiara or Auki, Gizo, Kirakira, but also in the rural areas. When disaster strikes, Mr. Speaker said, it doesn't choose a location, but it's widespread throughout the nation. And I must warn all the professionals, make sure you design and you construct according to the building code. Second, Mr. Speaker said, a point that I would like to raise is the governance, and I followed the recent speaker, the Member of Parliament for Small Matter, have stated. As others have stated, there might be some fish and chips being passed on during the construction and the design. Mr. Speaker, this is a profession that people must adhere to and they must respect. This building code, Mr. Speaker, you ready for passing now? And I must warn all the designers, the engineers, the architects, the construction company, make sure you follow the building code. If there's any failure, whether by natural disaster or failure to the construction, it will come back to you who design and also who construct this building. So take heed and be mindful when you do those constructions and design. With that intervention, Mr. Speaker, I fully support this bill and I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister. Any other members who wish to contribute to the debate? First Honourable Prime Minister. Or is the Minister going to enter the debate now? Right. Okay, if there is none, I will now call on the Minister to enter the debate on the second reading of the bill. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Speaker, honourable members of Parliament, at the outset, I wish to once again place on record my sincere acknowledgement of the hard-working Bills and Legislative Committee, each chair, and all the hard-working committee members for their professional and thorough manner in which they have conducted their hearings, the committee's diligence in engaging stakeholders, scrutinizing the bill, and presenting a comprehensive report with sound recommendations. That is very much commendable. Mr. Speaker, I would like to once again also thank my predecessor, the leader of Independent and a member of Parliament for East Malaita, for being instrumental in the development of this bill. The opposition leader made a joke saying that this will be Mr. Speaker, I believe that's because there is no more speaking language or group of people that is more passionate about carpentry or construction than the people of Kwarai. Yeah. So as someone from Kwarai, I'm very proud to table this bill in Parliament. Honorable Speaker, I also extend my deep appreciation to the government for national unity and transformation under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister for giving me the privilege to bring the National Standards Bill 2025 before this Honorable House. This bill is one of the government's key priorities, and I'm humbled to be trusted to bring this through this chamber. Mr. Speaker, I further wish to thank all honourable members who have contributed to the debate on this important piece of legislation. Your comments, observations, constructive criticisms have been greatly appreciated. Your engagement demonstrates clearly that the members of this House care deeply for the safety, well-being and the prosperity of our people. Honourable Speaker, the National Building Standard Bill is not merely an administrative measure. It is a framework for safeguarding the health and safety of our citizens, ensuring the quality of goods and services in our markets, and supporting the development of reliable and disaster-resilient infrastructures. It sets the foundation for fair trade, consumer protection, and sustainable economic growth. Mr. Speaker, I acknowledge some of the concerns that were raised, and I believe like a lot of this will go through during the committee stages. However, let me respond to some of the few concerns that were raised by a few of the members of the House. First of all, let's start with the materials. Mr. Speaker, the very purpose of this bill is to set standards for the materials that are to be used in construction and the practices of building and for the practices within building and construction industry. Mr. Speaker, if you look at in page A26, you'll see in that table of the building code, it sets out all the relevant standards of which we will have to adhere to once this bill is legislated. Every material, every how for porem concrete, strength of concrete, steel rebars, as mentioned, everything, it sets out in these standards. Now, these standards are not new standards. These are all registered under ISO, International Organization of Standards. We adopt standards. No man, these are everything. Every year, these standards, over the years, these standards change. Depending on new findings and all of that, these things change. Now, the materials that are going to be used are specified within these standards. As a builder, time of giving tender documents for you, one of the things they give you is the standards. Like if you're building to Australian standards, they give you either the AS300 or the Australian standards document. So the time I say, you go over here, the concrete thickness you're going to use is AS, and then they name the standard and clause what you need for finding. And then you go and you open that book here, and then you look inside, and then every specification there, the type of cement you're going to use, the aggregate, the size of the aggregate, whether it be 10 mil, 20 mil, 15 mil, the quantity of water that's going to be used, the temperature, even the temperature of the concrete, how by we pour in certain areas. Some go instead for using water in certain instances, it's specified that you have to use ice cubes, Mr. Speaker. Now, all of these standards, I'm not saying that by me doing that on Solomon standards, no, these are examples. All of these are recorded, all of these are stated, and we adopt all of these standards no more from the ISO. That's why all the materials that we've mentioned, they all come under this set of requirements and standards. Now, a lot of these materials that are going to be used will be tested. For instance, when we talk about concrete, I know concrete was raised today. As a builder, when the concrete mixer truck arrives for pouring, the first batch you have to take it in a sample tube. You have to take it in a sample tube. And then it has specific days. So you have to take at least for one batch of truck concrete we have come here, you have to take at least 3 to 4 samples, of different tubes. Now you're going to test this on certain different days. 7 days, 14 days, 21 days. Now the majority of concrete is normally after 21 days. So after 7 days, the concrete, if you the specified on the design is that have 25 MPa na strength of concrete there. First test it, take call MID lab or testing. After 7 days, it has to be around 10 to 14 MPa. The third one, you have to test them after 14 days. It has to be to a certain strength. Then 21 days or after that, strength 21 MPa hemlodian. So all of these materials here will be tested. And the onus is on us, the builders. One of the beauty about this bill is, in terms of the enforcement there, me come for check no man as the ministry. You build now, you have to make sure that before you pour in. So that's why it's stated in the bill when for a building inspector have come inspect. So for example, you say you come inspect before me pour in concrete. I'll have to come and check the steel. What steel material you're using? What's the size? What's the spacing that you're using? What's the thickness of that? And then you as a builder, you have to provide me with a certification of the grade of that steel that you have. So the onus is on the owner and the builder. So if you don't like take a risk and use your cheap material, then the risk is yours. Because I have the power. The ministry, the chief of inspector has the power to come and say, oh, this does not meet standard, demolish. So the loss, the owner and the developer bears the loss on that one. So it's important that our builders, definitely, it is important to our builders and our developers that they have to follow these certain standards. Otherwise, you will risk losing it all. And so, Mr. Speaker, that's why I want to highlight that in terms of the material, this is the very reason that the bill was brought to us in the first place. And the practices, the construction practices. Mr. Speaker, one of the issues that was raised a lot was the red tape between ensuring that people believe me, so I still build. Mr. Speaker, this bill definitely covers and also allows for buildings that are used that consist of both traditional and commercially manufactured building materials. So this bill covers that as well. So that we're trying to balance it as much as possible, so that we try for no limited or good people in Solomon for no able to build or setting standards too high that it becomes costly for them to build houses. So this bill does cover and accepts and allows for traditional materials to be used. So we call these semi-permanent residences, where it consists of both commercially manufactured materials and traditionally manufactured materials. One of the considerations is the resourcing. Mr. Speaker, that is a very important concern, and yes, we are aware of the importance of resources, especially for our lab. I would like to inform the House that the ministry has secured some funding from Course 2 program to upgrade our lab at the Ministry of Infrastructure and Development, and also the purchasing of some new equipment and the training of our staff. Realistically speaking, Mr. Speaker, like I've mentioned in my opening statement, no bill is perfect, and this one is no exception. It will not and cannot resolve every challenge overnight. But in passing this bill, implementation will take time, effort, and continued commitment. But in passing this bill, we are taking the most important step, and that is taking the very first step of the journey. Honorable Speaker, this bill, I think, is important to note that this bill is not just for the benefit of my ministry alone, nor for the GNAT government. It is for the people of Solomon Islands. It is for the mother who is selling produce in a market, who deserves safe infrastructure to sell her produce to earn money for her family. It is for the children in our classrooms whose learning environments must meet basic safety standards. It is for the worker on the construction site who must trust that the materials used are reliable. And lastly, but not the least, it is for the businesses that need consistent standards to compete on a fair and level playing field. In conclusion, Honourable Speaker, I again thank the Bills and Legislative Committee, the government, and all members who have contributed to this process. By supporting and passing this bill, we send a clear message that this House is prepared to act decisively to protect our people and lay the foundation for a safer, more resilient, and more prosperous Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, with those remarks, I beg that the National Building Standards Bill 2025 be now read a second time.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, I will put a question. The question is that the National Building Standards Bill 2025 be now read a second time. All those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The National Building Standards Bill 2025 has therefore been read a second time and it now stands committed to the Committee of the Whole House. Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek your consent under Standing Order 81 to move a suspension of Standing Order 10-1.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Leave is granted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I wish to move that Standing Order 10-1 be suspended in accordance with Standing Order 81, so that when Parliament adjourns today, it stands adjourned to 2 p.m. on Wednesday, 13th August 2025. Sir, the reason for this request is to allow myself and a number of ministers and members of Parliament to attend, to witness and officiate the groundbreaking ceremony of the Gold Ridge mining expansion project. This is a very important project, a national project, and the mining company has invited me and the Minister of Mines, a number of ministers and MPs to be there tomorrow to witness that important event, critical to our economy, Mr. Speaker. So that's the sole purpose for this request. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable members, it is proposed that Standing Order 10-1 be suspended in accordance with Standing Order 81, so that when Parliament adjourns today, it stands adjourned to 2 p.m. Wednesday, 13th August 2025. Any comments before I put a question? Thank you, Honourable MP for Small Malate and Chairman of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One small comment. Me want to thank him, Prime Minister, for making this amendment or motion for adjournment. Me, something was me raising for also a little bit concerned is we have important business before us, the House, and I'm important that we concentrate also about this sort of business. Whilst me know what I stating the importance of this ceremony, I think some of these things, no matter what the minister's concerned or the go him not make him extra important more, or that the Prime Minister him go with one or two ministers, him not make him something less important, or if every minister no go. Point blank, me also make him go ahead with him business, and especially this legislation we need to finish in this week. So I have no more point where we like make him. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on the motion? Honourable MP for Central Honiara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of this side of the bench, leader and no staff, so I think Mr. Dapno for me to talk a little bit more. That's exactly the same observation below me too here. Deputy and staff, at the MCR and no more, again, PM and Minister below Mines to also go up. One time Minister of Environment, so if he's needed, but I think Minister of Mines will there. Why do we have deputies? Business law, house that is not to say that Gold Ridge is not that important project. It's a very important and excellent project that you must support him. But I think if PM and the minister could attend, I think that will give even more significance and the prominence along this project. Yeah? Let's have the deputy to be around. I have no small comment below me, but otherwise, I'm really up low. You've already got a number enough for teaching around. Low, me follow this idea, then I'm no more, I'm a little bit small concern. Why don't we get on with the business of Parliament so that I'm not interrupted frequently. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And me resume seat. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable MP for Central Honiara. Any further comments on the motion? If not, I'll put the question. Honourable Prime Minister. Sorry, Prime Minister, you respond to the comments here.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the Chairman of the Parliamentary House Committee and the MP for Small Malaita for his comments, as well as the Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee and the MP for Central Honiara on those comments. I take note of those comments. Mr. Speaker, the Gold Ridge project is such an important project. That is why the company and the person who is coordinating the landowners has sent an invitation, not only to me and ministers, but almost a good number of ministers and members of Parliament. This is a critical project, it's a national project, and therefore to show the importance of the project, but it's a project that is also aligned to one of the 4 key pillars of the government's policy, that is economic transformation. And the Gold Ridge projects, with the launching of the mining expansion processing plant. It's a new processing plant that will be able to process 3 times more than the current capacity of the current processing plant. So it is a project that directly relates to economic transformation and, of course, economic infrastructure transformation. Hence, the company has seen it fit to invite me and ministers and members of Parliament to be there tomorrow morning to witness that important event, which is critical for our economy. In terms of parliamentary business, yes, Mr. Speaker, I acknowledge we have an important bill before us. I believe we should be able to dispense with this important legislation, the National Building Code Bill, by end of business on Thursday. We'll resume with the Committee of Supply tomorrow, and then the whole of Thursday we'll go through the Committee of Supply, Committee of the Whole House on the bill. Starting tomorrow and Thursday, I hope to for the House to pass the bill with the reading by end of Thursday, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. And those comments, let me now put the question. The question is that Standing Order 10.1 is suspended in accordance with Standing Order 81, so that when Parliament adjourns today, it stands adjourned to 2 p.m. Wednesday, 13th August 2025. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Standing Order 10.1, therefore stands suspended so that when Parliament adjourns today, it stands adjourned to 2 p.m. Wednesday, 13 August 2025. Honourable Prime Minister, moves the Move the adjournment motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I move that Parliament do now adjourn.
Thank you, honourable members. It is here proposed that Parliament do now adjourn. All those in favour say aye. All against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. In accordance with the earlier resolution, Parliament is now adjourned until 2 p.m. Wednesday, 13th August 2025.